Sunday. Woo! Wake up, baby. Get your coffee. It's time to get paid. Raise them up. Raise them up, my friends. It's time. It's NFL Sunday. Oh, my goodness. We got W's to rack up, and I got a good feeling about today's slate. Posted. Oh, my gosh. I mean, we are deep. We are deep into the postings right now. I think I have 5 originated picks. I have another half dozen or more positive EV plays using my odd shopper portfolio I have set up for NFL. Has an insane, it's a very small sample size, but over a 50% ROI. It's kind of nutty. And the plays overall are like 64 and 18 or something. So I'm just going to keep hammering these out in Discord. Whenever they pop up on the portfolio, if you see those positive EV plays for members, that's in the links down below. When you see those plays pop up, understand that while it does have over a 70% hit rate and a 53% return on your investment, this is a very small sample size, and we should not think that I have cracked the code with my portfolio setup and all my settings and filters. If you're wondering, if you're like, how's he winning that many? Listen, long-term, give me 1,000 bets. Those numbers are likely going to both drop. And if they don't both drop, I'm selling a car, and I'm going to be putting, way too many units on every single one of these plays by 2025. So let's get after it. I got some plays for you, of course. What's up? Good morning. I loved this morning chat coming in with some energy, saying hello to one another, talking some nonsense, honestly, some of it, and some of it pretty cool. coffee and donuts and best bets. What can go wrong? I mean, hopefully nothing today. And what up, Woody? Good morning. Good morning to everybody. I can't go through everybody's. This is one I wanted to highlight. Newborn is catching Z's at a perfect time. Let's go. I'll show you the money, Jerry McGuire. We're going to get after it. Morning from Missouri. I love when people tell me where they are. Every once in a while, we get some people, some states that I have not seen shouted out before. So shout it out, my friends, right there in chat. You'll let me know. You go, hey, it's me from New York. It's me in Texas. Let me know. I want to know where you are. Every once in a while, we get some Canadians. We get some people over in London because they love their football over there. Louisiana, good morning. All right, let's get to it. Nico Collins on the screen. The first play of the day. It's actually out of my 5 originated picks, it's my least favorite one. And I'm not kidding. Like, I love a couple of my picks this week. Like, love them. They are so far ahead of where the rest would be on my love list. Now, Nico Collins at the bottom of my love list, but still made my final 5 for the week. Now, I had about 15 plays, and I was like, what do I do here? I ended up taking this one. Here's the deal. Faced Jacksonville earlier this season, whom we have seen not give up as many passing yards on the regular week by week, but still giving up bombs. I'm talking every once in a while you get these teams or, passing yards is under, and I had my notes up on one of my monitors. Let me see if I can pull them up quickly here. I get a little overwhelmed with all these freaking monitors here. I've got like this, there, that, bam, and then I lose track of where I have all my stuff. So they had been under, several different weeks here for quarterback passing yards, but still we had, some guys just going off for like long catches, big yards, things like that, despite their quarterback not throwing for a billy. Then we watched Jared Goff go for 412 against them on just, I think, 29 passes. I want to say 29. He went 24 for 29 for 412, if that's correct off the top of my head. And we saw, some other quarterbacks hitting their overs all year. Honestly, we've had some huge games. We've had 3 other quarterbacks throw for over 300. We even saw C.J. Stroud bust them down for 345 earlier this season. That's just crazy. That's crazy. C.J. Stroud not had the season we all thought he would have, but Nico Collins in that game went absolutely bonkers. 15 catches, 15 targets, 12 receptions, $151, and had a tutty. Give me Nico Collins for that type of upside. Last week coming back, played a majority, over 80% of the snaps, which was good to see. I expect him to go out there and play, predominantly every single snap he can handle. He's a pretty decent run blocker as well. So they're going to keep him on the field. They need him on the field. This offense needs an injection of life. And I expect that he will also help out Joe Mixon in the rushing yards department, as defenses have literally just said, hey, you can't run against us. We're not going to let you run the ball against us and take the wind out of our sails and get the ball out of our hands and keep it out of our hands. So they're loading up the box, but that's going to allow Nico Collins to get down the field on some of these play action passes, and he's done it all year. We have seen him catch a 26-plus yarder in all 6 of 6 games. His actual receptions prop, long receptions prop, is at 27.5 today. His receiving yards now, there's a few other markers here that made me like this. Again, this is my 5th favorite out of my 5 originated. I have about a dozen posted for members inside Discord. Now, the reception prop for Nico Collins is at 5.5, juiced to the over. So we're looking at a higher implied probability that Nico goes out there and catches 6+ receptions. Then you look at the receiving yards, and it's at 85.5 is the lowest line. I believe I saw it on Fliff, -120. I marked that down inside Discord. You could actually take the 80+ and the long reception parlay on FanDuel for +127. I thought was interesting, alting the 80+ receiving yards. When you alt the 80+ receiving yards, oh, excuse me, sorry, I'm talking about another play. Oops, I'm not going to tell you that one just yet. Maybe later if you're nice to me in chat. But Nico Collins, anyways, I digress. We have seen some games this year where he has not even hit the 85.5. Buffalo right here. Minnesota barely cleared it at 86, but he still did cash the over on long reception. Dallas, he had only 54, but he had a 33-yard reception. Oddly enough, the game where he went biggest and went hardest with the most yards and most receptions, my friends, he actually only had 26-yard. He only had a 26-yard longest reception in that game. How ridiculous is that? So, yes, I'm going to Nico Collins today. I expect him to have just a massive, massive game. And we saw J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown torch the Jags for $124 and $161. In the last game, we saw Jacksonville defense on the field. We saw long receptions for both of them, 27 and 64 yards. There's just a lot to like here, man. And even going back all season, it's been wide receiver after wide receiver who catches these really long passes against them over and over and over again. They have just not been good on defense. 290 yards passing per game they're giving up, the Jags are. Absolutely ridiculous. There's a couple other markers too. Yards after catch, second worst in the NFL. You know who's really good at yak? Nico Collins. Against a defense now that is giving up the second most yards after catch in the NFL to opposing wide receivers. I'm not talking about including running backs and tight ends, which sometimes can rack those up. No. Wide receivers. So essentially, their defensive backs are so out of position that these guys catch the ball and they got room to go, or they can't tackle and they're missing tackles. The second most yards after catch in the NFL. Once I saw that, I was like, that's it. Book it. I love this play. I love it enough to put it inside my top 5. Again, not my number 1, not my number 2, my 3, my 4. This is my 5th favorite for NFL Week 13 out of my originated picks. Now, that was a fun one to start off with. Let me say what up to chat again one more time, as I'm seeing 360 people watching live right now, YouTube and Twitter. Thank you very much for tuning in. We got people out in Charlotte. We got people in Georgia this morning. Good morning. Beautiful Florida, says Derek. What's up, Dan? Out there in Dallas, Texas. DFW, Texas. Look at that. A lot of people from Texas always watching this show. Benny Hanna says, good morning from Charlotte. Hello from Maryland, says, have to catch them. And then Patrick Lee, does Kyron return to touchdown glory this week? We'll talk touchdowns. We can even make a touchdown slip. What up, dude? Prince George County out there in Maryland. I used to live out in that area, my friend, close to at least. What up from Austin, Texas, Kentucky, Wisconsin? Oh, man, we are everywhere today. I haven't seen many people from the Big Apple from New York at all, but that's all right. So let me say, anybody who's tuned into this show for the first time, subscribe to the channel. I am here 7 days per week, live shows, and videos. You get NBA, you get NFL. I cover it all. I use my website on the live shows here, mysparryedge.com. It's $10 to use for a month if you want to look up all the best odds, things like this. You want to use the player cards, you can do that. Here's how I would suggest to use it. And if you want the VIP picks, you can grab those down below as well, my friend. So I use it like this. People ask me often, how do you use the optimizer? Well, a couple of reasons. I like to use it like this. Number one, it helps me organize my thoughts. It gives me a nice large view, a 10,000-foot view of the slate or of a player. So I would look at this. I type his name in. Okay, best odds for his reception on FanDuel. The green shading will tell you. Best odds on FanDuel, -128 to the over at 5.5, which, by the way, aggregate odds for this, -148 across all books. This is a pretty solid play right here in and of itself. If we're just looking at the value of the line itself, 5.5 receptions for Nico Collins on FanDuel, -128. Pretty friggin' good, my friends. That is not a bad play. Now, if you wanted to really hone it in and look at an individual market, you would just select it here in the market tab, and it will pop up their markets. And then if you click their name, boop, you could click their name, and it'll pop up their player card. So a lot to do here today. I want to ask you a couple questions here, though. And, Chad, I need you to help me out if you want to control this show, because that's what y'all do. Well, then, my friend, you got to ask inside help. What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Let's go. Let's get you hooked up, man. NBA last night had a couple cashes, 2-1. Let's go. Hop in Discord if you need help. Go to the help channel. Say, hey, I need help. Get me in. Lock me in, man. I can't see the VIP Discord channels. There's 15 of them. 15 of them. You're going to want to get access. 10+ sports are covered. 8+ premium cappers. There's a lot of W sitting there waiting for you. Saw Fire go 6-2 again last night. Is anybody hotter than Fire right now? I don't think so, man. This dude is on absolute fire right now. But honestly, untouchable. Number one stunner inside Discord right now. This guy's on fire, man. I love when he starts cooking the way he is. All right, let's get off Nico Collins. Let's talk some more foosball here, my friends. Got another one, and I think we need to talk about it because I was starting to talk about it despite my desire to keep this one private. Let's just dive into it. Justin Jefferson, baby. We're talking Jay Jetta. Oh, well, let me type in Justin because I see Van Jefferson coming up too. Justin Jefferson. All right, so receptions prop 5.5, juice to the over. 6.5, you got the juice to the under. We're looking at an implied probability here of solid probability that he finishes around 6-ish receptions, and that's all I needed to see. Justin Jefferson has missed the 81.5 yards receiving mark. Now, keep this number in mind. This is important because we're about to look at it. He has missed it, so he's been so close several times. And then here's the 25.5 longest reception, my friends. Again, I know you're on mobile, so let me zoom you in. I'm going to go to 175%. Might be a little clunky for me to click around, but this will help you, my friends. 25.5 longest reception on FanDuel, the lowest line out there. I am okay with this at 26.5. If you got to take it on Fliff, it's your money. Make your choices. Now, here's the season. All right. So, again, 81.5, right? So, I'm going to type in 80+. All right. If you throw the alt line for Justin Jefferson at 80+ receiving yards today on FanDuel, -112, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a pretty darn good play. We're going to get the Justin Jefferson bounce back experience. I'm sorry. 5 measly targets against the Bears in a close game. Garbage. They're going to remind people why he is potentially the best all-around wide receiver in the NFL. Jamar Chase says, what you talking about? A few other wide receivers laughing at me right now. Justin Jefferson's going to remind them today, truly. Anytime touchdown in play for me. Receiving yards 80+ in play for me. Throw in 6.5 receptions plus odds, or 5.5 receptions at -140 we saw on FanDuel. I like literally everything. I personally put the most in there on the 25.5 long reception. Part of that is because at the 81.5, a few times this year, he hit the under here, still cashed the long reception against Houston. Hit the under against Detroit at 81.5 again. Had a 25-yarder, just missed it as well. 81 yards against Tennessee. Again, under 81.5. What the freak? And then you got Tennessee. He had a 31-yard reception. So multiple times this year. Oh, and here's another one. The Giants, 59 yards. He hit the under, like way under. And he had a 44-yard catch. Means he only had 15 yards. And those are 3 receptions. So 3 of the 4 times there, he's been so close or just hit the under. He still cashed the over this year for the long reception. So I went the long reception. I think they get him down the field today. I think they find a way to make it happen, or he busts loose when he's hungry and he gets the football finally. So I like this play a lot. I do. I think this is going to be a W for me. And what was the anytime touchdown? Matter of fact, I don't even know what the odds were. Plus 120 on Fliff. Best odds you can get for Jay Jetta to score a tutty. I do not mind that play at all. Well, I just mentioned my favorite prop market for him was the long reception. So take that info and apply it where you want. These days, I don't do what I used to do. Last year, I know people love the videos. I was getting 4,000 to 6,000 views per video, and it was like PrizePicks this. I don't care. Listen, I give you prop information. I tell you my plays, my info, and then you apply it. There are way too many websites out there for me to be like PrizePicks video or whatever, right? Like I know you guys have 10 pick'em apps. You've got 8 different sports books in your state. Some of you are using international books. You're using Fliff. You're using 4 or 5 pick'em apps. Like these days, I'm going to tell you, hey, I love Justin Jefferson over 25.5 long reception, and then take it and use it where you want. You know, you listen, you got 25.5 long reception on Dabble, on Underdog, on PrizePicks, on Fliff, whatever. And you're like, okay, I'm going to play it there. I'm going to play it on those sites. Do it. But I'm not going to sit here and like go over, okay, I love it on these 17 platforms. This is a good play on those 17 platforms, you know? And I'm not pushing you down. I'm trying to help you all out because a lot of people ask this during the show often. They're like, hey, would you take that over there on, on Underdog? Well, it's like, I like the prop, I like him to have 26 plus for his long reception. Play it where you want. If you want to play it, fade it. If you don't want, up to you. I'm just telling you what I do with my money, and shoot. I mean, I like what Health and Benefits just said here too, because he's kind of thinking about everything I've said and he's putting it together. All right. Donuts likes him for 80 plus receiving yards. Donuts likes him for 5 or 6 catches, 5 to 7 catches. Donuts likes him for a long reception. Donuts says he could catch a touchdown today. He hasn't scored in 4 games, right? And you take all of that and you slap it together and you're like, nah, all right, I'll take the fancy score. Something's got to give today, right? He's going to score a tutty. Maybe he pops off for $130, 8 catches for $120, maybe no touchdown, but he still gets you there because of all the fancy points. A lot of stuff. All right. Nice nerd voice. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't tell me I was supposed to play it on PrizePicks. Make myself laugh, man. Oh, man, I got problems. If you are watching right now on Twitter, do me a huge favor. Huge. Is it live on Twitter? I can't even find my own stream. Where is this? Where's my stream? If you see me on Twitter, where is it? I need you to retweet it. Does it not show this anymore? Oh, I can't figure it out. Maybe it doesn't come up as a tweet anymore. Well, anyways, if I have a tweet on Twitter with my stream, I got to look at my cell phone. This is maybe they changed up how these come across. Anyways, if you are watching on Twitter live right now and you see it, if you could retweet it, do that for me. And then if you are watching on YouTube, like the video, help me out, help me grow the platform, help me get to the masses to reach everybody. And, we'll grow this out together. Honestly, we'll grow old men on technology. Yeah, I found it and pinned it. Finally found it. It's up there on Twitter. Yeah, I am old, man. The nerd voice had me weak. He says, listen, I made myself laugh way too hard with that nerd voice. Help me, help you. That's funny. Jeremy Maguire just waiting on it. All of our odds and stuff are fed from Odd Shopper. Every once in a while, I know that sports books they'll kind of hide stuff. I don't know how else to say it. Like I know that there are specific markets over there sometimes don't get fed to them because they essentially their portfolio tool will have way too many W's racked up. Like WNBA, I know can be an issue. There's things like that. I don't know. It's hard for me to get into it and talk about it because it's not my API. But essentially, I've heard that sportsbooks are a little protective of what is shared sometimes to OddsShopper because their positive EV tool is too good. I'm not joking. Like that's crazy to me. Hey, let's talk about it. So Optimizer, we have an API feed with data sources through another company that currently is down. We can't do anything about it. Like that portion of our website, I can't get to right now. It's just like we are waiting for them to fix. Instead of waiting, I contacted my developer. He is going to try to rebuild a database and launch it through another hosting platform so that we don't have to wait. So if they take 2 days, 2-3 days more to fix their site, and we'll have rebuilt it before then, hopefully maybe even this morning, then the Pick'em Optimizer part of the website will go live again. And if he doesn't and he can't get to it yet, hopefully we can still get it in before we wait for the other company. So it's just taking a minute. It's weird. I don't know how else to explain it. Good thing we got the player odds, and you can go through and use it this way as you are watching me use today as well. Okay? All right. Nice nerd voice. Yeah, I can't stop it. Barkley. Oh, could we just talk about that game in general? Like, are y'all good with this? I want to honestly. I'm in the back end. You can see I just started glowing. I'm bringing up FanDuel. Let's just let's go old school here. Let's use the FanDuel website, and let's go ahead and look at that game because oh my gosh, man, this is gonna be a fun one. This could be, I mean, the old fantasy focused, the fantasy funnel. This one could just be an absolute W for player props. Now, I will say this with the caveat that we have seen games like this in the past where everybody under the sun is like, oh man, I love that game. Oh, there's going to be so many good plays from that game, right? And they just start talking over, everything over, parlay, touchdown ladder, so on and so forth. And then what happens? Chat, what happens when the public is all saying the same thing? Happens all the time. What happens? Nothing hits. It's under city. Everything, right? We end up with some silly game where it's like, 20-17, 37-pointer, and nobody hits the overs on anything. It sucks. We hate it. However, today, one of those spots where I'm like, I don't know, like, even if it isn't a 60-point game, like, they got to get pretty darn close to this total, right? I mean, there's just too many good offensive players on both sides. And then Baltimore's pass defense so wretched. Derrick Henry should be able to run against the Eagles. I have a hard time believing we're not going to see some fantasy goodness out of this. Isaiah Likely over 24.5 receiving yards earlier this week was a positive EV play. Zay Flowers is just licking his chops. This is the type of game I think he pops off a little bit here, to be honest. No one expects it, right? The Eagles pass defense been very good this season, been very good. I believe they're still top 5 in the NFL for passing yards allowed, but they're on the road. And this is a different type of offense here. And I think that this is the type of game where Zay Flowers could absolutely pop off, where no one expects it. Truly. How, I hate making these bold claims. I'm not trying to make a bold claim because also on top of that, like, he's not in my top 5 plays, but he was on my short list today to, rack up 60, 70, 80 yards because literally no one expects it. Like nobody. Wide receivers have been locked down against the Eagles defense this season. Yes, second in the NFL, 197 passing yards per game. So like, what am I thinking here? Honestly, I'm just thinking the fact that everybody is always saying, everybody's talking about Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley today. If you sign up for the optimizer, do I save the $5? It says first time. Like when you go through the sign up process, it tells you when you apply the discount, $9.99 first month, $14.99 after. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't check my emails all the time. I have people who are supposed to help with that, but I don't. It's all. I pay people pebbles. I have no money, so they get to it, but it ain't timely all the time. I actually love the under, but Barkley over on receiving yards. Yes, we snagged Barkley receiving yards earlier as well as a positive EV play. I think both running backs are going to have themselves a pretty decent day in total yardage. I don't know if we're going to see Barkley with a ton of rushing today. I know that's weird to say. I know. So I have a good feeling, though, that the Eagles attack them through the air and vice versa. Derrick Henry on the ground attacking the Eagles. That being said, we got the 1-2 combo right here for NFL rushing yards leaders. Both of these guys could eclipse 2,000 yards this year if they have some big games to close out the season. I ain't taking any unders for either running back today for any stat. Doesn't matter what market it is. I'm not touching the unders. Both of them could go nuclear any given day because they continue to bust these 50, 60, 70-yard carries. Are you taking unders for those? Like, I ain't. No shot. Let me bring up Saquon. I'll bring up his player card. We'll look at it together. And then let me spell this correctly. Derrick Henry will bring up his player card. Let's see what we can find. So, again, I mean, there's the rushing yards for Saquon. Like, are you betting on an under? Heck no. This guy has $176, $108, 159, 146, 255. Like, his last 5 of 6 games are insane statistics. So, no, I'm not betting on an under for Saquon. Do you want the Russian receiving over today? Like, that's what I want. A big game like this, I have a feeling, okay, if they can't get the rushing game going, Saquon probably is going to end up, getting some dump offs, right? Like, they're going to manufacture touches for this dude. They just are. His rushing prop at 19.5, rush attempt prop today. Rushing yards, you got 89.5. Receiving yards, 19.5. The total yardage, lowest line I see there is $112. FanDuel, BetMGM, Hard Rock. So I think that's a fine option. Let me see. Let me scroll this down. 112.5. So probably that, right? Like if you just think something's going to help us here. Hey, what's up, dude? Just got here looking for one lock pick for underdog streak. Yeah, I still got to put my streak pick in for Discord. And I will. All right. So this is on my short list. I wanted to show you. I know I skipped ahead in the show, but this right here, my short list, did not make my top 5, my final 5 picks for week 13. But this one right here was like right on the outside of being in my top 5, probably like 6th or 7th. Honestly, it's like right there. And then on the flip side of things, Derrick Henry. Okay. So running backs, it's not like they're just gashing the Eagles. The Eagles defense has been so freaking good in so many ways. But we've seen some starters over the last few weeks do pretty well. Rico Dowdle hit the over for his cashing. The next week, Brian Robinson hit the over for his cashing. Kyron Williams cashed out as well for rushing yards. Last 3 weeks. Now, none of them really did well. 53, 63, and 72. So it's not like they popped off or anything. But when you start to look at the running backs the Eagles have faced this year, I'm not so scared of their rush defense anymore because I'm seeing guys like Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby splitting a backfield, Zach Moss, Chase Brown splitting a backfield, Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary splitting a backfield earlier this season, Donta Foreman, Jerome Ford splitting a backfield. Now, starting running backs who aren't splitting, Rachaad White cashed out earlier this year before Bucky White was a thing. Alvin Kamara cashed out earlier this season. In the week prior to that, Bijan Robinson cashed out. Josh Jacobs cashed out. These are running backs who do not share or have a committee, right? So let's go over this one more time, and then we'll talk about why I like Derrick Henry and a few different props today ad nauseum. Josh Jacobs. All right, we start the season. So I'm going through the list to focus up. I'm going through the list of running backs against the Eagles defense, who, again, have been very good. 8th least rushing yards in the NFL, 3rd least rushing touchdowns. So there's a lot to not like here, but I kind of like it. I think it's a little low, this line, a little sneaky. So Josh Jacobs, week 1. Bijan, week 2. Kamara week 3, Rashad White week 4. I'm skipping over the Foreman Ford, Singletary Tracy, Brown, Moss, Bigsby, ETN. 4 straight weeks of running backs in like massive committees. Rico Dowdle was not in committee with Zeke Elliott that week. Cashed. Brian Robinson was not in committee with Eckler. Cashed. Kyron Williams, not a committee with Blake Corum. Cashed. That means 7 out of the 7 running backs this season to face the Eagles who are not in a timeshare cash the over on their rushing yards prop. So if you wondered and you were like, all right, what do you like out of this game? Again, right here, Saquon Barkley, over 112.5 total yards. Derrick Henry, 84.5 rushing yards. I don't know what lag y'all getting. That sucks. That's crazy. Maybe it's the old men in technology thing again. Jeez, man. I don't know. We got a massive influx of YouTubers. Thank you very much for watching. 275 watching on YouTube. 7 days a week. I'm right here. NFL, NBA picks daily, my friends. Cutting up. I hope it's not my mic. Maybe I moved my chair. Let me plug it in again. Probably just my internet, to be honest. My voice going